So a box and whisker plot is a way to display data so that you can see where the majority of the data is, okay? And it puts it on a number line. And once we've made one, then I will describe it a little bit better. So if you're given a set of data, so again, we're looking at the side of your paper that has the 4, 8, 10, 2, 5, 7, 9, 1, 4. Make sure you're on the right side. I have the steps clearly written down. It says step 1, put the numbers in order from least to greatest. So let's do that now. What's our first number? Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4. Alright, so there are our numbers listed from least to greatest. 1, 2, 4, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is always a good idea to scratch off the numbers as you use them. Notice that if you have a number that's listed more than once, like the 4 was, that you do want to list it however many times it was on there. Okay, step 2. The smallest number is what? 1. The smallest number is 1. This is called the lower extreme. So there's going to be a lot of vocabulary today. It's important that you know what those words mean. So the lower extreme is the smallest number. Step 3, the greatest number is 10, and it is called the upper extreme. So again, lower extreme is the smallest number, upper extreme is the highest number. Step 4, find the number that is in the middle of the numbers. This is called the median. So we've used that word before, the middle number. The median of this set of numbers is what? How many numbers total do we have? How many total numbers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total numbers. So when we have an odd amount of numbers, like 9, that means there is just going to be one number that's in the middle. A lot of times when people find the median, what they do is they cross off the first and cross off the last. Cross off the second, cross off the second to last. Third, third, fourth, fourth, and that helps you find the middle, the median. So the median of this set of numbers is 5. So again, order the numbers from least to greatest. Smallest number is the lower extreme, highest number is the upper extreme, and then you find the median just like you would normally. Alright, now we're going to move on to some words that are a little bit different that you may not have heard unless you remember them from last year. Now I'm going to list my numbers again since I know you have them on your paper already, but I had to move. So this is our order, our numbers listed from least to greatest, and we said that the 5 was our median. Alright, so step 5 says, find the median of the smallest half of the numbers. This is called the lower quartile. Do not include the median from step 4 if you have an odd amount of numbers. Do we have an odd amount of numbers? Yes, we have 9 numbers, so we have an odd amount. So we are not going to include the median. So I am looking only at these 4 numbers. You might want to kind of do a little squiggle under them like I did. And you can do that up at the top of your paper, it's fine. So we are finding the median of just these 4 numbers. So if I'm looking for the middle of these 4 numbers, it would come in between the 2 and the 4, which would be, between 2 and 4 is 3. Between 2 and 4 is 3. So the lower quartile is 3. Step 6, we're finding the upper quartile. So we're looking at the upper half of your numbers. Once again, we have an odd amount of numbers, so we are not going to include that median. So again, we're not including the 5 in this. We are only looking at the 7, 8, and 9. The median of 7, 8, and 9 would come in between the 8 and the 9. What's between 8 and 9? 8.5. Good. So the upper quartile is 8.5. Okay, so again, we found the median of the bottom half, which is the lower quartile, the median of the upper half, which is called the upper quartile. And step 7 says subtract the upper quartile and the lower quartile. So what was our upper quartile? Upper quartile? 8.5. You want to do your largest minus the small one. What's the lower quartile? 3. So what is the difference in that? 5.5. So our interquartile range is 5.5. Again, that is the interquartile range, 5.5. All right, now that we have all this information, we have the lower extreme, the upper extreme, the median, the lower quartile, and the upper quartile. Now we're going to put it on a number line. So I have a line there for you, okay? And in order to do that, we need to first put these numbers on a number line, okay? So these numbers range from 1 through 10. So we need to have the numbers at least 1 through 10 on this number line. So I'm going to start with 1. Now I need 10 numbers on here, so I need to think about my spacing, okay? You don't have to fill the entire line, but you don't want to run out of room. So again, you can have more than the numbers 1 through 10 on there, or your range of numbers, okay? You can have more than that, but you don't want to run out of room. And you do, we're not going to get out rulers and stuff, but you want to try to make the distance between each number the same, okay? Notice that some of the numbers that I put on my number line are not numbers that are part of my data set. For instance, the 3 was not one of my original numbers. But on a number line, we need to have all numbers represented. So the smallest number, 1, to the highest number, 10, we need to have all numbers in between there on the number line. Okay, so make a number line ranging from the lower extreme to the upper extreme. The next little point says put a dot on the lower extreme. The lower extreme was 1, so put a dot at the 1. Now, I made that dot or that number line really big on your paper, so you might need to make your point bigger than normal so you can see it. So put a dot at the lower extreme. At the lower quartile, what was the lower quartile? 3. At the median, which was 5. At the upper quartile, which is 8.5. Now, where is 8.5 going to be located on here? In between the 8 and the 9. So in between the 8 and the 9, we're putting a point. And at the upper extreme, which is 10. So again, we labeled our number line between 1 through 10. We put a point at the lower extreme, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the upper extreme. Okay, we're on to our third little dot up here underneath step 8. Draw a line from the lower extreme to the lower quartile. So that is a line from the 1 to the 3. Again, you might need to kind of draw above your line so that you can actually see it. And a line from the upper quartile to the upper extreme. So from the 8.5 to the 10, we're going to draw a line. Those are your whiskers. And lastly, we're going to draw a rectangle from the lower quartile, 3, that goes to the upper quartile, 8.5. Okay, and I'm going to draw a line kind of straight down from that median. So this is what a box and whisker looks like. Some of you may be like, oh yeah, I do remember seeing those from last year. So again, I said once we have it drawn, I'll actually kind of explain what this means. So looking at this box and whisker, what I notice is where the box is, this is where the majority of your data is going to be. So again, the majority of the data is within that rectangle. And then your whiskers are kind of like the outlying data. Okay, the numbers that you don't have as many of. Okay? So maybe this was like ages of children or something that they did a survey of. Most of the children fall between 3 years old to 8.5 years old. Okay? Where you do have some younger ones and you do have some older ones, but most of them fall in this area. Okay, so before I have you try one on your own that then we'll go over, what questions do you have about what we've done? Did you read the paper? Why don't you start with reading the paper? Okay. All right, so if you turn the paper over, you will see a problem that's very similar. And again, every single step tells you what to do because these are your notes. So on a normal, like on your assignment that you'll be getting today, it doesn't have each step, okay? It just says what's the lower extreme, what's the upper extreme, etc. So again, try the problem that's on the back side of this, and then we will go over it. So let's see how you did on this set of numbers. So in this set of numbers, we had an even amount of numbers, which made it a little bit more challenging for some people. So in step number 1, just like we did before, we're going to order them from least to greatest. So you should have had 19, 24, 25, 31, 37, 40, 46, and 66. The smallest number is 19, and again, this is your lower extreme. The largest number is 66, and this is your upper extreme. Find the number that is in the middle of all of the numbers. This is called the median. So again, we have an even amount of numbers. So how do you find the middle number then? So the middle is like right here. How would you find what the median is? Who can help us out with that? Talia. Good. So we need to add the two numbers that are in the middle, which is the 31 and the 37. That would give me 68. And then I'm going to do 68 divided by 2. If you did not remember how to do that, then you probably want to write down this work right now. Again, if you did not remember how to do that, you shouldn't have to be counting on your fingers trying to figure out what's in the middle of 31 and 37. This is the quick way of doing it. So 68 divided by 2 is 34. So the median is 34. All right, any questions about how I found the median? All right. Then I'm going to move on to my next slide. And on the next slide, we're going to do the next steps. Again, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my numbers so that we can actually be looking at them up here. Okay, so we said the 31 and the 37 were in the middle. Now we're going to find the median of the smallest half of the numbers. That is going to include that 31, okay? So we have four numbers that we're looking at here, the 19, 24, 25, and 31. And in the middle there is between the 24 and the 25. What's in the middle of 24 and 25? 24.5. Good. And again, you could have done 24 plus 25 equals 49. And 49 divided by 2 is your 24.5. Okay? Now I'm going to do the same process for the upper half. So we're looking at these four numbers, and I'm looking in between my 40 and my 46. So again, I'm going to do 40 plus 46. That gives me 86. And 86 divided by 2 is 43. So 43 is my upper quartile. Any questions about how I found either one of those numbers? All right, and then our last step before we make our number line is finding the interquartile range. So that is subtracting your upper quartile minus your lower quartile. So 43 minus 24.5. You'll definitely want to use your calculator for this, and you get what? 18.5 is my interquartile range. Okay, now I'm ready to put all of this information on my number line. So when I look at my numbers, they go from 19 through 66. I would need 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, all the way to 66. That's a lot of numbers. You do not need to write all of those. So I think to myself, well, I could count by 5s. That would be doable. I need 19 to start with, though. I wouldn't start with 19. I would start with 15. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. So my numbers, again, 19 through 66, are going to fall within these numbers. So I'm good. I'm covered. Okay? You want to make sure you have everything that you need to have there. A lot of times, when I've taught this in previous years, it seems like making the number line was the hardest part for people. But you need to know how to do it. You aren't always just going to be given a number line that's numbered already correctly for you. Okay, so now we're going to put our 5 points on our number line. So our first point is the lower extreme, which is what? Lower extreme is 19. So notice, I don't see a 19, but we know 19 is between 15 and 20, and it's going to be really close to that 20. You can even, if you want to, but you don't have to. Again, you do not have to. You can even label it if you want, okay? We're going to put the lower quartile. What's the lower quartile? 24.5. So that's between 20 and 25, at almost 25, so it would be really close to the 25. Again, you can label it if you want. We need the median. What's the median? 34. So that's going to be really close to the 35. All right, now we need the upper quartile. What is the upper quartile? 43, so that's between 40 and 45. And we need the upper extreme. The upper extreme is 66, just all the way down here. So we put our 5 points on there. We do our whiskers. Our whiskers go from the lower extreme to the lower quartile, and the upper quartile to the upper extreme. You can see that whisker is much longer than the lower whisker, and that's fine. Then between our quartiles, we draw our rectangle. And there is our box and whisker plot. So what this box and whisker plot shows me is that most of our numbers fall below 43. That 66 was kind of an outlier, a number that's bigger than most of the other numbers. And I can tell that by that whisker being so much longer than this whisker down here in the lower part. Okay? Alright, so what we're going to do now, we only have about 10 minutes or so for you to work. But I'm going to give you your assignment, and I want you to start on your assignment. It is not homework. I will put your folders out here. You will have the opportunity in 10 minutes when I say to clean up. You can put your paper in your folder if you want to, so it's here for you tomorrow. Or if you are someone that's super organized and you want to keep it until tomorrow, then you have that choice as well. Okay? But it will not be homework. You will have tomorrow to work on your box and whiskers in class. And then if you get finished, then you can work on your tessellation if you still have that. Or if you have IXL assignments still, then you can work on those tomorrow. Okay? Questions for me? All right, as always, these will be posted